Good evening, one and all. This is like a surprise. I didn't even send out a flyer or anything. I was checking out this evening the blue dot poll or the blue dot poll that is was published. I think today might have been the last day in the publishing of these polls, and they've been going all week, and they've been featuring different aspects of what is and what could be and all those good kind of things. So this evening I managed to capture some of it. I will probably do another live and maybe tomorrow or so later on to try to bring some of what I saw, what I listened to. I'm not gonna rush through just yet because I know I didn't send out anyone any notice to anyone. So at this point I just wanna stop a minute to say welcome, and I'm going to ask you to, if you run into this poll, please, to this poll, to this, if you happen to run into this live, I'm going to ask you to share it and like it and subscribe to it, all that kind of nice things. I want to say thanks to people again for supporting me because I've now completed a milestone and I'm heading to a new milestone. I'm trying to see if I can become more regular with the way I do it. And so, what should I do? I want to do something to give myself a little bit of time to start putting out something. So, let me do a countdown and start sharing. All right, I'll be right back. This is not very long. I should find a longer. Let me do this down here. Let me find this nice 1 minute. I think it's about a minute. I'm going to put this 1 minute one while I send out some invitations. So, hang on for a minute. Right. All right. Welcome back. I'm in the process of sharing and so give me a minute. I managed to push out a bunch just now, and I'm trying to get everybody on board at the fastest rate that I can. I think I did this one. So I'm gonna look for. Just give me a minute. I have things set up here. All right. Here's one of them. I can do this very fast. And because I was not prepared the way I usually am, I have to kind of um, do a little. I'm doing it on the fly right now, and I'm hoping that I will reach some people. I've seen a few people have already found it and have logged on, and in the meantime I'm also trying to stall to wait for to see who else will come on. Huh? There's another one right here, and I'm trying to get as many people as possible to join. I'm not going to be very long. I just have to. I want to share because a very interesting finding this evening. And as I said, I'm trying to stall as much as possible while I share to bring more people in on this live. It's these are very. Which is oh, that's not the one. Huh. This is the one. All right, that's it. Because I'm going so fast, I'm kind of tripping up in some ways, but I'm catching up, and I'm almost there. It's a very rough start, maybe, but when I start this way, I do get a good number of people on board, and when I switch over. All right. So thank you all for those who have come across this. Please share, please like, please subscribe, and those who understand all that kind of thing about tagging people. I don't know, I guess send it out in email, not email, Facebook, and I'm going to one of the people. Some I usually put it on Twitter also, and I'm just about there sending them out, and then later on I send it to some other people when I. All right, so my thing here is this evening is going to be mainly a piece of the tape from the conference. It's not a conference. They were doing a kind of a analysis on the polls, on the poll, the latest Blue Dot poll. That is the one that came out a short while ago. In fact, I just captured a piece of the tape, about 20 minutes of it. I, did what I have to do to get it in place so I can get it out and push it out as fast as possible. This Blue Dot poll, there's some very, very interesting thing. I didn't do a good job because I was like, everything was new and they were doing the way they were doing it. But they put out some good information, and I'm going to go back and later on to develop some of the things. And one of the things that has come out, which party? One of the things I saw at the top of it, which party is better suited to lead Jamaica. This is just like, who you think is a suitable party? And this is not like the committed type of people. And in this very first one that I kind of caught onto when I, found them, they said the JLP, this is just generally, not whether you're committed or not, or you belong to a party. They said, which party you think is more suited to lead Jamaica? Well, the JLP, the Jamaica Labour Party, came out on top of that question, 35%. And for the PNP, it's 23%. For those who are not sure, it was 25%. And, and they would say, is there someone else who you would, or maybe some other party or some whatever, and some people, 17% of the people that would say someone else other than, what we are used to. So that's a big number out there waiting for a political party, a new political party, or some formation of some group or something to jump in anytime, because if you jump in, you will be sure to pick up some seats. But that's not the big one that I want to really go into. I want to stall a little bit to give people to find, the thing, and I'm going to run this. And this is decided. There's one of them that they came across, which they released, is to say those who have decided that they're gonna vote. And again, it came back that they came back that it would be the JLP by 31% and the PNP by 25%. Those are the people who have decided, and they say, and this is coming from a perspective where 72% of, I think one side of it might be missing, so I'm not going to give that one. I'll bring that another time. It was showing the amount, the percentage of people who are committed voters to the party, to their party, and about 72%, I think it's a JLP, and one of them, the PNP, 78%. So people are kind of tuned in from what I see. People are tuning for what is coming up in this possible election. People might be looking at it in terms of, in general, like elections in general, but we're going into the local government. But I think people are pretty much ready. And a big surprise is coming out of this thing. People believe that because of the battering that the government side has taken over the years, because the last 7 years they have been taking a battering, and they really took the PNP to the woodshed and gave them a thorough spanking back in, what was it? It's 2016. Was it the time? Yes. Since that time, Mark Golding has become the leader of the opposition when Peter Phillips lost in that very bad way. And so now it's coming up to the time now for it might have been 2017 they moved in, whatever that year, but their due elections are due in 2025. That's a general election. Come February of next year, 2024, there is an election due by February 2024, and that's a local government election. And so people are getting in the spirit, and they're looking out, and they're looking at who to, God is our wholeness is out there doing this thing, getting people whipped up. The PNP, as it is said, they have been there for the last 2 years, working. But there are some things that people are having a problem with. They're having a problem with the leader. They can't seem to swallow that pill. The party of itself is not doing too badly. This is why we are getting these numbers. But the party is not doing too badly. But the leader, its situation is very dire. So what they're hoping to do is to bring it down to a situation where they go from parish to parish. They look at it from parish to parish. And this is what this piece of video will feature. I think I want to kind of jump into it because by now we have a kind of nice, decent amount of people. And as I start rolling this tape, I'm going to ask you, please, to share it, and so that others, because the most critical part of it will come at almost at the exact ending of it. But it builds up. There's some information up front, and then it builds up for that final thing. So watch this number. I think the number that I'm going to take it from is where a number of she's going to mention 41%. I thought I had my notes better than this, but it's not coming out to the way I think something is mixed up here. Can't find it. Oh, let me see, maybe one more page. All right. There's a big number in there, 41%, and she's going to take it from there. So let me start. This is from the Blue Dot organization. All right. So
party affiliation, right? So we know the JLP supporters, the vast majority of them are voting for the party that they support, although we are seeing nearly 1 in 5 of people who identify as supporters of both parties being undecided. So that's something to note, at least. So we're seeing 76% of JLP supporters saying, of course, they'll cast their vote for the JLP candidate, and 78% saying of PNP supporters saying they'll cast their votes for their PNP candidates. When we look at those people who are politically unaffiliated, they do not claim to be supporters or sympathizers of either party. 72%. So that undecided figure in the overall population is 41. For this unaffiliated segment, it climbs to 72%. So these people who consider themselves a supporter of neither party are not yet convinced. They don't have enough information to make a voting decision. But if they had to, they would vote in favor of the JLP by a margin of 4%. All right, but those numbers are very, very small. 14% among the politically unaffiliated compared to what is happening in the overall at 31% is a pretty significant difference. So this segment of the population, which we know is 41% of people, we really have to consider what is it going to take to get these people, one, to the polls for them to vote in the first place, and then of course for the operatives on both sides, what they ought to be doing to inspire them to vote for the candidate representing their party. So I just wanted us to throw that into the discussion before we got to the map. Remember we said Westmoreland was going to be a surprise?
Yep. Dead heat.
Dead heat. 22% for either party in Westmoreland. If general elections were being held today, which party's candidate would you vote for? 22% for the JLP, 22% for the PNP. So it is going to be a surprise indeed to see if either of them come out on top.
I said it.
We've also been discussing Hanover quite a bit in our discussion, and it's been sort of going back and forth. They're not having a lot of confidence in Mark Golding as leader. They have far more confidence in the party. Well, that is turning out at the polls, where 24% of them would vote for the PNP, compared to only 18% that would cast their vote for the JLP. So Hanover turning orange there. The Eastern trend continues.
Portland.
49% in St. Mary compared to, for the PNP, compared to only 22% for the JLP. Portland, 36% of persons say that they would cast their vote for the PNP, compared to only 19%, nearly half that would cast their vote for the JLP. So we're seeing that trend. It's getting to look a little bit like consistency at this point, certainly in that Eastern Belt, in favor of the PNP. St. Catherine is another parish where the difference is negligible, only a 1 percentage point difference between the proportions of people that would vote for either party. So that is another parish that would go or could go either way. Everywhere else, the JLP is ahead, though by varying degrees. So when we get to St. Thomas, their margin is fairly wide, right? 42% versus 22%, a 20% margin there. But then we get to other parishes like Manchester, where the margin comes down to 4% in favor of the JLP. So 29% would vote for the JLP versus 25% for the PNP. So that's one of the parishes where the margins are lowest.
As well as Trelawney.
And Trelawney, it's at 5%, right? So that one falls outside of the margin of error, but is still smaller relative to the others. In all of the other parishes, we're seeing more significant margins. So for example, 13% in Kingston and St. Andrew. We see a margin here of 9% in Clarendon. We're seeing quite a bit here, 11% in St. Anne. So you're seeing much larger margins in other parishes, but certainly
And
Manchester
St.
and Trelawney.
Elizabeth,
St. Elizabeth,
5%.
it's a 5% difference. So not something to be quite
Competitive.
comfortable with. It's still fairly competitive in St. Elizabeth, in Trelawney, and in Manchester.
Look at that gap in St. James.
Yeah, St. James is in favor of the JLP by a margin of 14%. So 36% of people saying they would vote for the JLP compared to only 22% that would vote for the PNP.
Robert Morgan is here with us, Cliff, and I want to ask him how do you feel today at the presentation of these numbers relative to when we were downstairs in the courtyard in March for the presentation of those numbers, which showed that the PNP was breathing down your neck?
Well, I think it validates a lot of what I said at that time. I spoke about the fact that the opposition has been campaigning for 2 solid years on the ground. The Jamaica Labour Party has not been as out there as we should have been. We have not been as articulate in presenting our achievements and what we've been doing for the benefit of Jamaicans. That has changed to some extent over the last 3 to 4 months, and we're seeing the manifestation of that in the poll numbers.
Dr. Spence, the national picture, Cliff made the point, it's a very competitive map. St. Mary apart, St. Mary, Portland, and to a lesser
Hanover.
extent, St. James apart. It's a very competitive map all around. And based on what we've presented already, this does suggest that neither of the parties should believe that, we are in a good place. There's no good place thing to take from this from the numbers.
No, because
Go ahead.
I'm looking at the unsure, the undecided, and I think it tells me that there is a lot of work to be done in terms of developing new political messages and trying to win the hearts and attention of those people who are still unimpressed by the messaging either way. And what it tells me is that the messaging now isn't working. It's working for the party supporters, it's working for the diehards. And that's fine, so you have those people in the bag already. What new messages, ideas, and strategies are the political parties going to now work on to get the people who are just coming into the political culture to participate directly in the political culture to join either political party? What are we going to do about those who are undecided and who have a lot of messages that they have to sift through to come up with a conclusion as to who they want to join, which party they want to join? So not comfortable in either party shouldn't be comfortable, especially because they have to know cover new ground. They have to know, think about what does the population that is not impressed by the current message want to hear.
You keep saying message, but if you were the JLP, wouldn't you think that moving from 24 in March to 31 points now, a 7% gain, is enough to say, the messaging that brought us from 24 to 31 is working, more of the same? You'd say, don't do that?
No, I'd say, yes, do that, but there is still other kinds of messages to develop and other populations to target. Testing the message is important, the message is testing, and perhaps the JLP diehards feel more sure. No, okay, fine, let us go back into, we kind of feel like we can go back over here, so we feel secure around here, so again, it's sounding more like what we wanted. But what about those people who are still not looking in that direction, and so the message would have missed them entirely? Why did the message miss them? Why is it that they remain unconvinced? What does the party now need to do?
There's a variable I would like to add to this, and as a member of parliament, I have to look at the real politics on the ground. If the turnout that we're seeing here turns out at the next general election, it will be the largest turnout since 2007. 2011, the turnout was 53%. 2016, it was 48%. 2020, it was 37%. This would be a significant improvement on the last two general elections, where we polled under 40% of the voting population. So while, Nadine, you're right, political parties and governments need to do much more to engage various sectors of the population to let them understand what the message is and what the government is doing for them. These numbers show something to be thankful for, not just for the JLP, but for those who are interested in chipping away at the apathy that exists within the society.
Let me just tell our viewers, right? We have two young commentators who we here at Nationwide are trying to introduce to you. Yes, Andre Roden, he's an economist and social commentator. He's on the phone. So to Cleveland Tomlinson, another economist and political commentator. And we should also tell you, we did extend an invitation to members of the opposition People's National Party. Somehow, several of them were unable to make it, okay? But they're watching and they're listening. Yeah, welcome, PNP. Sandre, Cleveland, good evening.
Good evening to you, Cliff. Good
Yes,
evening
who is
to
that,
you,
Sandre or
Yes, this
Cleveland?
is Andre.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Cliff, and good evening to your listeners. Thank you for having me.
Good, who is this?
This is Cleveland.
Cleveland. Sandre?
Good evening, Cliff.
No,
Good
I'm not
evening to
hearing
your
Sandre.
listeners.
All right. So, Cleveland, let me begin with you. What do you make of these numbers? In particular, if a general election were being held, yes, it would be 31-25 in favor of the governing Jamaica Labour Party.
Right. These numbers validate
Cleveland?
my thesis. Yes, are you hearing me?
No, I'm not hearing
Numbers-
Cleveland.
Yes. These numbers,
Oh.
are you hearing me, Cliff?
Yes, I'm hearing you now.
Right. Numbers validate my thinking and validate the narrative that we have been hearing, that the fight is really over the undecided voters. I think the numbers that we have seen are numbers that relate to the base of the respective political parties. But for the political parties to gain traction heading into the general election, then the fight has to be over the undecided voters. I think it is especially concerning for the People's National Party because it is at a time when, in my estimation, the incumbent administration is politically weakened by the headwinds that it has been facing. The disgruntlement over the salary reclassification, people not feeling the improvements in the macro fiscal position being translated in their personal lives. And then we have the woes from crime and violence, So the administration has been facing a lot of woes. But then at this time, we see that they have climbed in favorability relative to when we last polled the pulse of the nation. Whilst the People's National Party has increased from the last time, I think the increase is not significant, and against the backdrop of the headwinds that I shared, the People's National Party should have gained significantly more momentum. I know that the People's National Party has stuck to this kind of thinking that I think is foolhardy, where they're holding tight to their chest the policy prescriptions that the people want to hear. In particular, my demographic, I'm 23, Cliff. People like me are not so much interested in the political theatrics. We're interested in the policy prescription that the opposition is proffering. So whilst the opposition has been very firm and strident in highlighting the challenges that the Jamaican populace faces, I think that what has been absent from the messaging, which aligns with what Dr. Spence has been saying, the messaging misses the policy prescription from the People's National Party. And what will not augur well for the PNP is where those policy prescriptions are absent. Because a Jamaican electorate will not swap out an incumbent administration for uncertainty. And whilst we find the People's National Party highlighting the challenges, they are not telling us what their policy prescriptions are. And where they have recommended, the messaging has not resonated with the people.
Overall, Cleveland, are you impressed? Well, you've made it clear that the messaging from the opposition party is not meeting the mark, pun intended. Where the JLP is concerned, is their messaging cutting through?
I think that the administration has been facing quite a few headwinds, and it is difficult at this point in time when you find that the administration is caught up with trying to resolve issues relating to crime and violence, trying to ensure that people, ordinary Jamaicans, feel the benefits of the improvements in the country's macroeconomy, etc. I think that it is encouraging that at a time when the government has faced so much in the last 3 months in terms of criticism, that they are still able to poll higher than they did in March 20, when we last did the polls in this year. So it is encouraging. I think the numbers depict that it's competitive. I would not encourage the administration to be complacent because I think that there are challenges ahead. I think that the cost of living crisis, when we look at what is happening in the domestic economy and the global economy, there are upside risks to inflation. So the cost of living crisis can continue, and I don't think that that will bode well for the administration. So complacency is not to be encouraged. I think greater work the administration has to do in terms of selling its message.
Minister, you, based on the numbers here, don't have the burden of trying to market your leader to the electorate and the potential electorate. Does that make the job not easier, but does that make it more straightforward, more streamlined, your approach?
I think we have to be thankful that we have a leader who maintains a high level of credibility in the market, though there are still segments of the society that do not have a favorable view of him, a large percentage, especially the important demographics, not the important demographics, but important demographics such as young people, such as working class people, find his leadership to be something that they can look forward to. However, we have to, as a party, continue to build out the general political infrastructure from the PDs all the way up into the constituency, major constituency organizations. A big part of the challenge is transferring the message of the gains and situating it at the foot of the people so they understand how the S&P Standard & Poor's rating will impact my life. How will it improve the schools? How will it improve the roads? And I think as a modern political movement in a communications environment that is so dissected, a lot of us take it for granted that putting a press release out or doing an interview on TV will be effective. No, we now realize that you have to go house to house, going on the ground, engaging with the people on a personal level, explaining in simple language the intricate esoteric details of economic policy in a way that they can understand and connect it to their own personal understanding. The reason I believe, a big part of the reason why we have caught up with some of the numbers is the fact that people are now beginning to think about elections and are starting to assess both parties and what they're offering. You see on one side where it's cas and mix up and quarrel and disrespect, and on the other side you see a very studied and a very focused leadership that is concerned about what is in the best interest of the people.
Dr. Spence, you keep telling these guys in the JLP and the PNP that your messaging is not cutting through, you need to change course. Do you get the impression that they're listening?
No, because I think it's easy to go with the diehards. Like, if you know your people who are at the core will support you, and you know where your numbers stand with that, then it kind of is less frustrating to work with those than to think about what the neophytes, the new ones want, because their minds keep changing, right? But part of what needs to happen, and I think with political parties globally, and I think some countries do it better, is when young people begin to start thinking politically, and that is like from them are like 9. What are you doing with them? Why are you waiting until they get to 26? How do you build political consciousness into teenagers? What do? You don't need to be, no, they're not going to vote, but in 5 years' time, they will join a party. What do you do to get them to join your party? What do you do to get them to start thinking through how they contribute to the political decision making in the country? So I think our political parties are starting way too late. For example, I work at UWI, they're not active on campus. There was a time they were. They're not active on any of the university campus in any sensible way. It don't make sense. Across the globe, political parties are very active on university campuses.
Antagonistic to political movements. The University of the West Indies does not want to provide accommodation for political parties to have meetings and have discussions with students.
No, man, they do. They do. Political parties need to also push back at that. Because this idea...
We have to leave it here. Yeah, and I want to leave our viewers with this. For me, who I've been observing this for a long time, probably too long, the biggest takeaway for me from the September 23 Blue Dot polls, that question that identified 10 national issues, and probed how the people feel about their respective political parties' ability, competence, whether they have confidence in them to deal with those bread and butter issues, crime, housing, road, water, healthcare. If I were at 89 Old Hope Road, that is the biggest political message. You got to focus on the issues that affect people. Forget the noise. Yeah? And on that score, the Labour Party comes out on 9 of 10. And the only one it didn't come out on, it was behind by 1%.
Cost of living.
Cost of living. No, that is political malfeasance on the part of an opposition that has been in opposition for 7 years. I say no more.
Yep.
And may God keep them there for many more years.
The fact we have a minute and a half. Dr. Spence, your final comments?
Yeah, I could comment on that again. Is again, how do you articulate strategies around those issues that clearly stand at the minds, that sit at the forefront of people's minds? If we continue to do the quarrel and whatever, without those are the issues that people are keyed into. That is what people want to hear. So to me, the typical Jamaican voter, the ones who are undecided, them sit down and say, let me see what they are coming with. This is how they are. And they're listening. People think people are not listening. Let me see who are going to move me from here. So that is the kind of posture that the Jamaican voter who is not convinced has taken. And they're listening for it.
If you look, and I beg you 10 seconds, Cliff. If you do a straight line comparison of the type of leadership being demonstrated by both political parties. Yes, we have had persons who have said things. But if you look generally at both political parties, you see on our side
15 seconds,
clear articulation of policies. You see respectful dialogue with the public versus the other side. And I think the underside will look at that and make decisions on that as well.
Janae, I have to give you the final word. You've done such a brilliant job this evening.
Thank you so much. It was certainly our pleasure to join with the NNN team on this. I cannot end this without saying a big, big thank you to my Blue Dot team. Yes. All of my interviewers across the country, or data supervisors, or quality control supervisors, and certainly the analysts who dug through the numbers for us to arrive at this very insightful presentation. Thank you, thank you, thank you to my team.
How many are you? Make up that team.
So the internal team is quite small,
But the
including
total
Lauren, it's
field
about 12 of
workers-
us, but we have about 100 interviewers in the field and a supervisor in every parish.
All right.
Okay.
So we're pretty strong.
Thank
Thank
very
you,
much.
Jenny.
Before we go, thanks to our producers, Sonia Stewart and Dana David.
Back in this picture. Sure. All right. So what I did, I took out a chunk of the where they were like analyzing, dissecting the whole thing. And, at the end of the day, it shows that this is not, I don't want anybody come attacking me. It's not my thought, it's not my preference, it's not my liking, whatever. You see that result? That is what these people put out. I happened to just figure out how to capture it right there, and so I could bring it right away. And it's something I never attempted before, but it worked with my capture tool, and it worked, and I just managed to capture the last part. There's lots more to it, but the bottom line is, it is showing without a doubt that if an election were held today, the ruling party, the government, would win, and they would win handsomely, because there is improvement taking place in the Labour Party camp. The PNP has improved somewhat, but not strong enough to come put the JLP out of business. They have a lot of work to do, but as the analysts were saying, especially Nadine Spence, she pointed out that, listen, these people, not even Nadine Spence, I think it was this guy who is from the party, he pointed out that then they weren't doing any work. They're just now starting to work. And if after must be like about 6 months, 5 to 6 months out there, and start to do some work and start to highlight their accomplishments, their achievements, then, it stands that they're just going to improve. And that spells trouble for the PNP. There's some other parts of the poll that came out where it shows, say, who would the people prefer? And it is coming out very strongly. Unfortunately, I didn't capture that clip, but maybe later on. But there's a favorability thing that came out of this poll. Damian Crawford came out on top, 44%. Holness came in at 29%. Robinson at 27%. And below that somewhere is Golding. So it is not looking good for the PNP at this time. Worse, I don't think it's looking good for Mark Golding, as I like to call him, Massa Mark. It's not looking good. They are going into conference tomorrow. They have ratified the changes that were made to say that the elections are going to be held every 2 years, and it holds that there will be no challenge in tomorrow's thing. No need to try to look out for it. Nobody's going to be so crazy as to go challenge based on PNP politics. Let me just see a couple of people who have commented. Peter Sinclair, Ryan Sinclair, sorry, said Peter Bunting mess up the PNP. Next we have a real black woman. I saw this lady before. Promise make 7 years, none kept. Pure lie, too much talk, fix infrastructure, 1,300 can't do anything. One break, $700. Yeah, all of that is true, and I think that is the point, that what happened with the PNP, why they never made more hay while the sun was shining. Real black woman, when I say, you can't fool me again. And that's, she's saying that. And she's saying the government can't fool, Andrew Holmes can't fool them again. Darren Daly, all of you are something, which, no matter, are cats. I guess he's saying that we are all cats. But all I've done so far is just capture this piece of it. I'm going to try to get more of it and get it out there, because I wasn't even a Blue Dot fan, but I think they have been the technology that they developed to be capturing, they're doing their polling. I think they're getting better at it. It's a proprietary piece of software or something, tool that they have that they use, and they seem to be getting better at it. And I'm just going to say to whether it be those who are in charge of the PNP or those who are following, not to just rubbish these things, but sit down and think seriously about what you have in front of you, because I think the Blue Dot they have given you a great, piece of information here. That if you sit down and you figure it out and what you can do and what you can't do. Already, we hear Andrew Condro coming out and say, whether it's going to con the people again, I don't know, but he's coming out and say he's going to fix the roads. When we talked about using a donkey to come down on the highway that he has been building to be able to get to ride on the road, because what they have for roads now is just ridiculous. It's, in the rural areas, in the urban areas, corporate area, wherever, the roadway is a mess. And Contra came out, I think it's this morning or yesterday, and he said he's going to address the roads. So he picked up on that, and he said he's going there. Now, if he starts fixing all the roads and people start feeling good about themselves, yeah, boss, you're here where you come, because remember the JLP, they have their conference coming up too, like down maybe like November or something, October, November. And once he starts talking and making the promises and he started working, because I tell you, they have their hands on the purse. They can spend any amount of money to help to fix their problem. Does the PNP, or do the PNP, because they're a plural situation, do they have it to make any kind of inroads or to fix any kind of situation they have? The Mark Golden thing is not looking good. And that's the first thing. I think they're aware of it. I think they are fully aware of it. One of the things that came out in the same thing, because of like maybe about 2 hours worth of analysis that went on. I just captured the last 20 minutes, 27 or so minutes of it and put it out. Mark Golden will have to look at Damon Crawford, because Damon Crawford and Lisa Hanna, not just Crawford alone, but Lisa Hanna is still showing good in the popularity race, in the favorability race. Damon is showing good. Coldness is only at 29%. In that final favorability thing, Robinson's polling at 27%, so he's showing a bit better in this question of favorability. Who do you favor? Who do you like? And Damon is way on top, 44%. Coldness is only 29%. So what somebody was saying, and Lisa is showing a good number too. What they're saying is that maybe what tomorrow, which they're keeping a secret, they're keeping it private right now. They didn't come to this analysis, analytical session, but the PNP is keeping everything to their chest tonight, and it's tomorrow they're going to make the big surprise announcements and pronouncements and posturing, because somebody's saying what they need to do is to get Golding and Crawford and Lisa on stage together and start somewhere a genuine effort, a genuine drive to start to bring the thing to a point where they see unity in the party, because that is part of the problem. People are seeing too much fighting, too much infighting, too much fussing, too much. The misery factor in the party is very bad. I can read from my thing now. So PNP have to get it right. I said this last night. Mark is not a charismatic leader. And I think by now they're realizing it, that he's not charismatic. What he has to do is put aside his personal, whatever feelings, and to start bringing in, he has to start bringing in, I'm trying to get to another comment. Is this one? Marcia McKenzie, right? Yeah, that's her. So why is just about the roads they're concerned about? What about the healthcare system? It is very bad. Yes, that one. Yeah, I see that one. That is terrible. I think it's the worst I've seen it in the history of, the times that I know Jamaica. Because even in the early days of Jamaica, in that early days, hospitals were special places. When you go into hospital, it was well run, it was well kept. You had a lot of competition between the private and public hospitals. You know, you had the St. Joseph's Hospital in Vineyardtown as a private hospital. Then you had Andrews, which is up there on Hope Road. You have one in the Crossroads area, I forget which that one is now. But these are nice, clean. The public hospital was a very clean place, just spick and span. Everybody used to wear uniforms. The people who clean the floor, the people who take care of the yard, everybody was in uniform. The ones in the yard, they would wear khaki, or khaki, as they say. The ones on the ward, the people cleaning the ward, they would be in uniform. All of that stuff gone. If you go in there, people rough and tough, like they're coming in the hospital with the clothes that they were lying down on the street in, and all that kind of mess. So, you know, they're absolutely, you are right, Marcia, that it's not just about the roads, but trust me, the road situation is so bad. And the hospital, you know, you see people, the hospital, what is scary about the hospital situation is always see people, sick people just lying down in the hallways, lying down. They put them to sit on a chair. You can imagine when you're sick and you just going to go lie down. Even if it means this is your last day on earth, my God, you know, try and make it comfortable. You know, because when you go to hospice, they know you're going. They know you're going. They're not trying to bring you back or fight or to do anything to bring. They just say that they want to make you comfortable. Just give you a chance to just feel at peace as you drift out of this life. And the way the life is for people in Jamaica, it is, you know, there's no excuse for what is happening. They have, and then what is weird, when they do the popularity poll, I didn't hear them say anything about him this time. Christopher Tufton, who is the man in charge, he's getting good ratings in Jamaica. How is it? You see that same Dr. Peter Phillips, when he was in charge of the Ministry of Health, it's one of the best times in the health service. The best time. The hospitals were clean again. Because Peter is a Kingston man, a city man. Well, I think he might have some connection in Mandeville and Manchester and them kind of thing. But the man, they grew up as a youth and them in a Kingston and know they should have an idea what the hospitals look like. You know, when you go to Spanish Town Hospital, when you go to the Kingston Hospital, when you go to UH University Hospital, there's a sense of cleanliness that you saw in these places. But no, everything is just rough and rumble and rough and tough. And so you are absolutely right that those are areas that if he has a year to try to correct some of them so that he can, you know, say, okay, I don't even know if it's a year, but he has until next 2020. I think he has until 2025. So just about a year, February 2025. And you know, they can find ways of stretching it out, just the way he stretched out the local government. So, but still, he has some time to go and get serious and just start addressing the things that are affecting people. Address the roads, address the hospitals, address the schools, address whatever it is that people's lives are being miserable because of this lack of attention from the government. I think Peter heard me and wanted to come in and make his point. So I was getting ready to pull it down, but I was trying to keep it a little with him. All right, so Peter, I didn't plan to stay very long, but since you're here and you're awake, I brought it on thinking you were gone to sleep. But talk to the people because my Mandeville Hospital is so bad. Yeah, Mandeville. Oh my! When I was young man, you go to Mandeville Hospital. That was one of the best run places. The grounds were immaculate. The floors were clean. The place was just clean. And Mandeville was a town. Mandeville didn't have any, as would I say, ruffianism or rough people. Everybody in Mandeville were some what them call upper crust type of people, well-dressed people. The place was clean. Not true. KPH was a mess under PNP. I'm not going to quarrel about that because maybe you saw it. I'm not going to quarrel. I was talking about earlier years in Jamaica. Not in the 80s or the 90s. I'm talking maybe back in the 70s and I would have said some part of the 80s. So you are right. I was just addressing Kean Mitchell. So go ahead, Peter. Go on. Maybe we'll get some more responses while you're coming in. Come talk to the people. And I've been here a while.
Mr. Hopkins, I'm mystified again. Once again, Blue Dot has proven to be very illuminative to the Jamaican people. it has shown the people them that this man, Massa Mark, here he is running fourth in a two-man race. And then people still in the PNP party say, this is the man that we're going to put on our shoulders to come and lead the Jamaican people into battle. The Jamaican people has unanimously and profoundly said to the PNP party, we don't want the man here. We don't want this leader you're picking out for us. And yes, somehow or another, the Brown Burks, PG, Daytona, them all are run around with charger and no cell phone in their pocket to go dial into what the Jamaican people want and need. These people are so removed, so far removed from the Jamaican people.
Let me tell you something. That I don't know if you were following the full
I was the Perkins. I was following the
Trust me, the most of some of the earlier findings, this last part that says overall, the last thing they showed you, overall, the JLP is set to win back by about 7% or more. I have been to KPH Mandeville under PNP, never good. No, that is not true. I don't think went there when Peter Phillips was health minister. It was one of the better times. Anyway, I'm not gonna fight with you, Miss Kayan. Cause I don't know. Maybe I check you and say if you just leave school, there they are your thing. But there are times it's like this. It went up and down. But this period is about the worst I've seen it. I saw in the 70s, in the 80s, when things were bad, and that time it was Eddie Siaga, frankly. I'm not picking on anybody in the party, because I remember when they used to have bodies piling up down at the morgue and all that kind of crazy stuff, and it was just ugly. Not even in a cooling place. There were so many dead because they used to kill a lot of people, and there were so many bodies that they would just put them all out. They would throw them down all out in the yard or just in any space that they could find, and it was really ugly. So, but at that time the KPH started going down, because I remember when I was at RJ in the 80s, one guy got shot up badly. He happened to know me. It was kind of a family member, in-law kind of thing. And he called me. I was just about, because we used to go to bed late at nights working in the newsroom. Just put my head down, must like 4 or 5 o'clock. Them days were young. I mean, running out the street, and I just about put on my head when the phone rang, and they said, boy, somebody want me in the newsroom. Somebody asked, the newsroom called me. Somebody's asked me there in the KPH. And because once I called the name, we just rushed down there and we saw the man. He was put up in a way that they put him to die. But I showed up and they heard RJR was in the area, they took him up fast and they got a doctor and they put him into surgery right away, and his life was saved. So I saw a lot of it in the 70s, coming in all of the 80s. After 90, when I left, the last year or so in the 80s, I left Jamaica. I've not been there in a long length away since then. But what I'm seeing right now, people can't. You're not on a bed. You're sick. I look at the people; they look so sick. You are in an hospital. That means things have gotten bad with you. So you need help. You need somebody to comfort you. And then the nurses and doctors are not even all that great. But let me read this last thing, and I'm going to bring you back, Peter. She said, and this is Marcia McFarlane. Mandeville Hospital was very good. Why they don't change what is this? A fee? Why they don't charge a fee in all hospitals to help out? They could do that too for people who can afford it, are afford enough that you give something and it would help. JLP is 9 out of 10. Yeah, that one, Primrose. I saw that when they based on the number of items that were in the blue tag report, JLP is showing on top in front of 10 items that they put out there. And it would be things like the healthcare system and the roads and all those things. The JLP is showing like 9. There's one of them that they're failing with. And that's what the polls found. We will wait. I hear there's another poll from another sources coming soon. So we wait for that to see if it measures up to blue dot. And we will know. All right, Peter, go ahead again. And I start to take over from you.
Well, no, Mr. Perkins, I have to tell you the truth, you know, say, when I was a young man, you know, in a college, you know, then I told you the story, say, my political science professor said to me, say that at one time, you know, it's considered to be the PNP to be one of the greatest organizing party in the Western Hemisphere, you know. That man look at me and said, Peter, if the PNP was 4 or 5 percentage points down, they would win an election. And I said, Prof, how you mean? You said they would be able to organize on the ground and eke out a vote. But no, Mr. Perkins, you see the Blue Dot poll say that they're 7 points out.
Yeah.
They're 7 points behind. So in other words, Mr. Perkins,
How
even with them organizational ability, they cannot beat the JLP. And the problem, Mr. Perkins, is one man at the top.
One man stopping it, and they're willing to sacrifice the house. They're willing to gamble the house on that one man. And I, you know, I was never a big, I used to play with race horses one time, but I was never a man to go to a poker house and go play card and gamble. I hate going into a casino because I hate losing. And I think every time I go in a casino, I always lose. But these guys, they're playing a kind of gamble that it boggles the mind. It boggles the mind. You're right on that note. You're right. It's a cult. It's not a party. It's a cult. Yeah.
And that's why they're losing, Mr. Perkins. That's why they're losing. I mean, you know, Mr. Perkins, with all of this slave drama that Massa Market himself into.
All that. Maybe things might change with that. I don't know. But then up to now, we have not heard an apology. Where's the apology?
Mr. Perkins, I have a riddle for you. Riddle me this and riddle me that. Guess me this riddle and perhaps not. Do you think Massa Mark, the only way to get Massa Mark to get an apology is to take the F out of fat and the F out of way?
Yeah.
Take the F out of fat and take the F out of the word way.
Yeah, I don't know, no way or whatever. I don't know. I forget what it is. Go and tell the people because they want to have something to say quickly.
Because when the Jamaican people, there is no F in way.
There is no F in way. I hear that.
They're going to get Massa Mark to apologize.
Right. So hear this now. And let me just there's a new person I'm seeing here. Them say the person name is Poor People Voice, and they say we need to import a prime minister for Jamaica. You understand? So we need to do this. So going with your thing about no effing way is this man is joining and giving this one. Him say we need to import a prime minister because what happened to the people in the PNP? What happened to the PNP? Poor people voice again. Him said JLP is going out. Well, him still think the JLP is going out. Kean Mitchell said, I saw on IG that Mark leading the party in the election. He's leading. I'm not sure what you mean. He's gonna be. It is now ratified that he's the president. Nobody's gonna challenge him for the presidency. He's the president, so he's gonna take the party into elections. Now, where you have to watch now, Miss Kean, is that Mark has been out there for like 3 years now, going around the country, around the walls of Jericho. Maybe we might have to wait another 4 years because it's 7 years, the 7 times the people have been going the walls of Jericho for it to fall. Well, it may need 4 more years to go around the walls of Jamaica to bring down the JLP. And by then, I don't know what would happen to him if people keep seeing him like that, because he's not bringing any joy, he's not bringing any light, he's not bringing any fire, he's not bringing any energy. But I don't want them tonight turn them anger and them wrath on me, because I'm trying to. That's why I say, the one thing, because the thing was going so fast and I didn't have myself organized enough, I would have brought up more of these things, but I'm going to do another live and just jot them down and have them read and make up a chart and all of that. But this is what the poll is saying. And, they say a poll, what I'm saying is that the poll only reflects a moment in time. So it could get better for them or it could get worse for them. And with Andres waking up and start his work, who knows what's going to happen. Go ahead, Peter.
Mr. Perkins, the only thing you can get is worse for them. because you know Daytona come out in him thing and say the more the Jamaican people see Mark Bolan, the better they're going to be party and he's going to be. And let me tell you something, the more them see him, the less they like. They not like the man, but somehow when you're part of a cult, you know, facts don't matter, you know, Mr. Perkins. Only feelings. Facts don't matter. So that's my try to say for the PNP party, you know, is a cult. Because the fact of the Blue Dot poll, I tell you, say, a man around 40 in a two-man race, and you say to the man, you keep running, sir, because you're going to win. You already don't lose.
Yeah.
You already don't lose, Mr. Perkins.
It's amazing. I'm telling you, I'm, it's like I'm tired. I'll tell you the truth. It's like I'm tired because I don't even want to waste my, like my energy. All I've done is just present the facts. I like that people are participating and commenting on it because I would rather to hear from you and the rest of the people tonight rather than me putting my anything to do it because they're going to say, I'm here to fight them. I'm here to just present what has taken place. And this last part, that even though it took about 20 or more minutes for them to get to it, it says that the JLP has a 7-point lead. Their leader is not so popular either, Him not so popular either.
Well, Mr. Perkins, the Prime Minister is not so popular because guess what? He might build beautiful highway and people are right down to get to the highway.
Yeah.
But now you hear the Prime Minister come out and say, no, we're going to fix the donkey. We're going to fix the donkey part. Then we're going to start drive car to the highway.
And if I were him, wherever he can get some people to supply some beds and put some money, pump some money, maybe move Tufton out of the health ministry and put somebody more assertive, somebody more, who has a kind of concept of what a good, well-run hospital should be. He probably should decide and give the nurses some extra money. Say, you know what, I'm going to give a bonus for what you have been hanging in there. Just find some excuse and give them some more money and bring back some joy in them heart. And let some more young girls start coming in and help out in the hospital, more doctors, get the doctors. Just spend some money on them, spend some money on the police, spend some money on this, well, maybe the soldiers, the teachers, spend some money on the teachers. Let people start feeling good. Start organizing to get them a flat, as I'm saying in England. Because that's where most when them leave, that's where them go live in England, go live in a flat. They're not going to live in no picket fence house anymore. They're going to have a flat. And if you start building the flats in Jamaica and give people a good sense of themselves, that they have a decent house, place to go into lay their heads, then that's what he needs to do. But
Mr. Perkins, when you know what, I'm going to give the Jamaican people a comprehensive economic program to create wealth on the island, to retain great services for the Jamaican people, and to push us on a path forward. Because the people that we have down in the island right now is not doing it. Come Sunday night, when you come out your program under the spotlight, Peter from Queens is going to give the people a comprehensive program. A comprehensive program to come out and take us out of these doldrums. Move us forward in a forward.
Well, we may have to hold that for Wednesday, because come Sunday night after the conference, I'm going to still try to pull in more of these information, tighten it up. And we have to talk about what goes on, what is said in the conference and things like that. If we're going to get into some kind of presentation, then we'll need way more time than that. Because, my thing is I need at least an hour to do, and I will probably give you 20, 15 or so minutes. So, but maybe Wednesday, it might be a better time. So,
if you say Wednesday, Peter from Queens.
Right. So I wouldn't count on Sunday because Sunday is when after the conference, and I'll be paying close attention to that and trying to do my presentation based on that. Especially this evening, when I figured out how to use my capture thing. If I'd figured it out before, I'd have some more than I had there. So we have to kind of rejigger, recalibrate what you have in your head, because Sunday night you have to pay focus. You have to give the focus to what is going on, and we can critique anything that is being said, and we can, because right now they're avoiding saying anything and they're keeping everything for Sunday. Because of that, they didn't participate. They were invited to come and sit through, because remember, it's not a JLP poll. It's a poll. Somebody in the private sector, got the poll done, and they didn't show. No, some people say, yeah, they didn't show because tomorrow's conference, and everybody, you could give them a pass because tomorrow's conference, and everybody would be busy putting what they have to do in place. So, tomorrow's Saturday. Tomorrow's Saturday, yes. So well, then again, no. The conference is a 3-day conference. It actually started today. That's why today they ratified the thing. Then tomorrow is another some kind of, I think it's some kind of breakout, whatever. Somebody will come and talk to me. We're having a group thing tomorrow, and somebody in there will explain how it all works. And but it's a 3-day conference, and then Sunday is a public session where any and everybody can come, and that alone in itself is going to be, it should be an exciting thing. Not necessarily that they're going to be excited about Massa Mark like they used to be excited about everybody else, from taking it from Peter to PJ to Portia, a whole bunch of P's, and it used to be like bedlam when it come, and the excitement and thing. We don't. I know they're gonna try to hype it, which they've been staging a lot of these things and trying to make him look good. But if you look at when he's coming, it's like a one of them, like a AI. He's like an AI, a kind of robot. He's very robotic. He's just coming there. He's not interacting with people. He's not touching the people. Not doing anything. He's just stiff and walking there, and nobody's. And they kind of stage it, and they have the little vuvuzela blowing, and they're making things. So that's Mr. Perkins. It's an artificial intelligence. You don't have none. Okay, and I 100% agree with you. I think it's a time, because I don't know, it's a male arrogance that is running the thing. And when Portia was there, she was more sympathetic to people. She talked about balance poor people's life while they're balancing the books. Charlie start that kind of thing. But these guys, they're all about who want to show who can do this, and then they're not doing anything because they were busy, making themselves, pockets fat, But Mr. the problem with them, man, them don't know. Them look like them graduate from the Scooby-Doo School of Public Relations, because I tell you, say, it's like a little them out that they're doing, Mr. Perkins. Them from the Scooby-Doo School of Public Relations. I know somebody. I know if Sunny Days is anywhere near this thing right now, she'll be cracking up, because Charlotte's talk about Scooby-Doo, and you're so good at talking about the Scooby-Doo that you can make the Scooby-Doo, so that's so funny. Mr. Perkins, that's just so funny. Hey, yeah, man, go on talk, man. These people, Mr. Perkins, have no common sense. None at all, Mr. Perkins. And as I said to the Jamaican people before, we're waiting for an apology from Master Mark. Now, me personally, a master does not apologize to his slaves, because Master Mark, to me, my opinion, this morning, Mr. Perkins, Master Mark will not apologize to the slaves, because they look weak in front of him, Tapanaris friends them. That is why you're not hearing no apology. And if apology does come, Mr. Perkins, then be too gritted teeth, too gritted teeth, Mr. Perkins. A master does not apologize to his slaves. That's why I ask you the riddle, Mr. Perkins. If you take out the effort of fat and the effort away, there is no effing way that Master Mark is going to apologize to Jamaican people. A master does not apologize to his slaves. And this man want to come rule the Jamaican people with them Tapanaris friends then. I guess I'm going to bring out some of them Tapanaris friends them up at the conference on Sunday. Yeah. Because he refused to tell the Jamaican people who these Tapanaris are. He refused to come and apologize for the slave drama in Britain. And it's so honored that the PNP party said, no, this man is the new Messiah. I don't know what to say, Mr. Perkins. In my head hurt. And that with that is the same kind of feeling. I just think I need to shut it down, because I don't want to get nightmares tonight, because when they see no, as you say, no effing way, um, and we have to go live with this some more. It's scary, because it's like jumping out of fire into frying pan. Or, as them say, if you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, because the same nonsense you're getting. So, but with that, we have um, another day ahead of us tomorrow. Tomorrow is exciting times, because the queens of the track, they're going to be in action tomorrow, except for Shelly. But Elaine is going to be out there. I think she's looking forward to smashing one of them records tomorrow, world record. She's close. Little Miss Shakari, she's coming gunning. She's moving fast and good, so she could, upset the apple cart with the record breaking tomorrow. Who the hell knows? Elaine, I think Elaine is going to be there. I don't think she's quite ready yet, but she's coming good. She's looking good, and I think next year we might find her back at her best, like where we knew her for most of the prior years when she was in her form. She kind of fell off the wagon a bit, but I see the determination in her that she's coming back. I think she's ready, but she's not fully physically at that point. I don't think she's there yet in her conditioning, but you can see that she's a certain, determination is in her, the kind that she had before, and I think she's gonna do she's gonna be showing good, and then next year she's gonna be very dangerous. Anything that Sherika has to do, she better do it this year, because she's gonna find a different Elaine next year. Peter, I want to thank you, sir, because you hear me. You know I'm into athletics. I like to go out and go poke around and see who is saying what and who is running. Because a lot of the Jamaican people are running all over the place, and they're all of them doing good. The men are showing good. Oblique is showing good. All of them, a bunch of them showing good. So the men are kind of coming back to where they were. The Oblique is always up there with the other boys, them, with the American guys, and he's young and he's coming through. So tomorrow's going to be exciting in that event in Oregon. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for joining me. I didn't do any flyers, to tell you I'm coming. I just know I captured the thing and I said, listen, I'm not even going to sit on this. I'm putting it out, put something together fast. And we're running pretty good a good long time on it. So Peter, thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen in the audience, I want to thank all of you. I'm going to read every one of these comments. The only thing I never figured out how to respond to them to let people know. But when I see them, I'm looking at them, and I appreciate your participation. The channel is growing nicely because of your participation. Don't forget, as you leave, share it, like it, subscribe. Peter, maybe we talk.
And don't forget, Mr. Perkins, so Wednesday we're going to have
we will look at, we will, if anything, unless something dramatic go happen, bounce it, but that will have to come in Wednesday. I can't see it happening tomorrow, because right, and we just have to make it as a point of discussion Wednesday. All right, so you take care. I'm moving out. I'm pulling the curtains down on this Friday night drama. I'm trying to bring to you what is happening. In fact, I have to do some things to pull all the other pieces that were out there to make a program of it. So I might even put it out there tomorrow. All right, so everybody, talk to you guys soon. Have a blessed night, a restful night. See you tomorrow, Sunday. Tomorrow is Saturday, when we're going to do that thing with the cafe. The bloggers cafe, even if it means I'll just be watching, or I'm going to be in there, but that's something that you'll be possibly hear from one of the big guns on the resistance side to say how it all looks, how is it shaping up, and what everything means. All right, so everybody, bless you, have a good night.